I've just given some links over here into my profile here. I live in Melbourne, Australia. It's a bit late here in the evening of Sunday. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, wherever part of the world you are. So let's jump quickly into the today's agenda here. It's a very rich topic, so I'll just gear up very fast here. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So I'll be able to answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. So first is why do we need dual write, and then followed by what is dual write. Then I'll just explain what would be the overview and architecture behind this dual write, followed by the live demo. And then we will see, okay, what are the implementation considerations we need to take care of while we implementing the dual write. So first we need to understand why Microsoft built dual write and what problems Microsoft tried to solve with this yet another feature. Think of finance and operations and serious environments. This is what I'm showing you onto the UI, which is pulling some information from customer side, which is written to the FNO database over here. So this is written to the FNO database here. And similarly, onto the CDS side, I have the Powerapps basically connected to the CDS, and probably it is also reading some customer information from CDS. The important point to note here is that the information in the UI is different than the one into the Powerapps, because these are two completely separate databases talking to two separate instances. So this is the information is two different information here. I could say all looks I could easily say all looks right with it and nothing wrong with it, apart from the fact that these guys inheritably do not share information with each other. Now, to add to it, finance and operations got another very powerful feature, which is embedded Power Apps, which is again directly talking to CDS here. It's not necessarily pulling information from FNO. So in this case, what I'm trying to show here, how embedded Power App and Power Apps, which is bound to CDS. In that case, they are trying to share the information between each other. Again, in FNO UI, you have customer information, which is not in which doesn't exist in any of the other any other apps, either of the embedded Power Apps or not into the CDS. So in FNO we have two customers, Alpine and Contoso. As you can see, these two customers do not exist into embedded Power Apps and Power Apps on CDS. So we could write down some data integrators, and then this information can be shared across both the environments and both the instances. So the question arises: the finance and operation data does not natively exist into CDS. So what can we do in few clicks and without doing much setup so that we can have data natively into CDS? So we want to have FNO data natively in CDS. So what needs to be done? So this is the real magic of dual write comes into the picture. So what dual write does, dual write actually puts the finance and operation data natively available into CDS. So this can be used with all rest of the apps under Power Platform. So all it does, so if we go further here, once we have enable the dual write, all it does, this actually sync all the information across all the apps in FNO and in CDS. As now you can see, So the fabric cam and lightware and the rest of the customers do exist into all of the apps here, into CDS database and also into finance and operation. At the very high level, this is what the dual write is, and this is the problem which Microsoft try to resolve using the dual write. Now, what is dual write? Again, when FNO data is written, it will be written into the CDS as well. And same goes to Dynamic 365 for sales and vice versa. It is tightly coupled, which means like it completes onto the one transaction level. It's near real time, it is bidirectional, and it is available for master data and business documents. So what does it mean here? When customer records are you are creating and modifying and any document, you are talking about sales orders, quotations, or invoices, so master data could be reference data. So what does it mean here? Master data could be your reference data, which means your customer groups, your text information, your uh, pricings. So all the data which do exist into FNO, this can be sync across to CDS. So that can be used as a reference data into CDS. So if we talk about the architecture here, so if you look at the current picture on the top there in CDS and in CDS to FNO, both have, so if we move here, both have the data entities here. When the data is written into CDS, so what happens here, and we want to push this data to FNO. The first thing is that there is mappings available. And again, the question arises many a times, people ask, are these hard coded mappings? So the answer is no. So we can actually map everything at the field level, and we can define mappings using transformation, which is a part of the demo today. So what happens here, if we have entities in CDS, any CRUD operation happens, these plugins get invoked, and using the mappings there, they actually call OData and write the entity data back into FNO. Onto the other side, if we see the CDS system here, from CDS, from FNO to system, FNO to CDS. So also in FNO environment, we also have the concept of entities, and we also use the mappings here. So what happens here? We have events here. So any CRUD operations happens into finance and operation, it triggers some events. So these are the table level events which combined and bubbled up at the entity levels. So as part of the dual write framework, there has been a lot of restructuring happened into the table level events, which bubbled up and write all the events. And then these events using the mappings, whatever the mappings we will define, and then it call the OData and write data back into the CDS. So as a recap, because it's include a lot of information into this one picture. So as a recap, it's more of a trigger based, event based, or plugin based model where the data is changed. As soon as the data gets changed, it push on the other side. So what would be the strategy here to understand what problems Microsoft tried to resolve, and why did we need the dual write here when we already got the data integrator? As you can see into this picture here, what the main strategy is to provide the seamless exchange of data beyond the application's boundaries. So that what we are providing one Dynamics 365 experience at the end of the day. It doesn't matter wherever you are creating the quotation, wherever you are creating the order, or wherever you are creating and modifying any customer record. It will live into both environments in both instances onto the which will be using the on based onto the dual write setup. What are the, so as you can see onto the left cluster here, it already exists, everything exists into the CDS here. So Previously, we used to have the data integrator. Now we want to add this particular cluster as part of this one. So we add it into finance and operations. So both exist here, and it combines the complete Power Platform here. So user at the end of the day, user will have one dynamic 365 user experience. It also enables the digital feedback loop. So which include customers, products, people, and operations. And it and at the end it empower new markets and new market demands like project manufacturing for engineering to order. So this is the whole concept of adding the dual write as a part of the Power Platform here. When it comes to the licensing model here, so licensing model for the dual write is pretty straightforward and it's very easy. So what does it mean here? So licensing model that a dual write is itself a service. It's not a separate product. It's a service itself being added to the product. But you do not need to have an additional license. If you have got already finance and operation license available, so the dual write actually will come as part of the finance and operations. So the important point we need to understand here, what would happen when you write data back into the CDS. So CDS, it is one of the examples of the CDS app is the customer engagement. So whatever the app you will use, like field services, sales, so you have to have a separate license for this one. So dual write is a part of the finance and operation, but if you want to integrate to any other application like a customer engagement in say Dynamics 365 for sales and Dynamics 365 for field services, you have to have a license for those separate apps there. So whatever customer engagement app you would like to use, so that's not included. So think about dual write is not just the infrastructure framework you are configuring it and using it, and then you are going to get data from left to right. So dual write has two aspects of in here. The one is the infrastructure. Infrastructure is actually provide you the near real-time experience with live sync of data here. And the other aspect is application side of things, where we really need to have out of the box experience. So you do not need to develop something that just an easy configuration. So application experience provides you all out of the box entities. Everything is ready for you. So for easy integration, you do not need to write another third-party applications, or you do not need to write a big customization for the any integrations. So the important point here to mention is it also it a part of the application life management solution, which is the dual write is solution awareness. So whenever we create any entities, any entity maps, you can easily move across to any your high level environments, which is your test environment, UAT environment, and to the production environments. So all information will be a part of the dual write. So I was quickly now moving back to the infrastructure features. What infrastructure features dual write provides us? So dual write does exist within finance and operations. So it is a near real-time bidirectional data sync. It can be a single direction, and then we have different options here. It actually provides you all of the out of the box entity maps. You can customize your entities. You can write your own data entities. You can add those data entities as part of the dual write entity mappings here. So what are the upcoming features available for the dual write? Few of the features Microsoft team dual write team has introduced over the weekend. These are in preview, but uh, these features which I'm just showing you on the screen, these are not generally available. So what are those features as of now? So once you link the environment, you cannot add company after you're linking your environments. So uh, you will understand all these upcoming features once you will see of what actually the dual write and how you link the environments between FNO and CDS. So in overall, Microsoft is actually working hard to enhance the performance, and then you can handle multiple data entities across environments. And uh, the major part is doing onto the automated data movement operations between connected environments. So, and it is one of the very common requirement when we have to refresh our environments, especially in finance and operations. So we have to refresh our lower tier environments like development environments with the sandbox or production data environments. So there will be some automated ways, and some APIs are in progress by the LCS team, which could handle all these processes automatically as part of the one click. Right now, once you have linked your environment, so you have to stop your all entity maps before you unlinked. In the upcoming feature, this will be a one click, which what it will do, it will automatically stop your entity maps, and then it will unlink the environment for you. So there will be a support for GCC. So as soon as you have sales onto the government cloud, that then something dual write can help you with to get this into the FNO. These are the other few functional features which are yet to be released. So a couple of them are on hand inventory availability into CDS. So party and the global address book. So where the multiple addresses from the customer will be synced from FNO to CE. So as part of the demo, I will start with the dual write setup. Then I will explain you the company concept, the integrated customer, and then we will jump into the error handling. So this is my finance and operation environment here. As you can see, I'm logged in finance and operation environment. So the dual write, in order to find where dual write is, you have to go to the data management module here. Here you will see a tile here which is called dual write. If you jump into this one, so this will pop up and it will show you the dual write is not configured. The dual write is the environments are not linked as of now. So the, so once you don't have any environment linked, this is the first big screen you will see. And as I told you, the dual write actually lives within finance and operations. A this is a is a iframe within a finance and operations. So if you are from a finance and operations team, so most likely you will try to right click and try to find out the form name here. It doesn't live like this. It is an iframe, lives within our finance and operations. So everything will be happening into the Power Platform itself. So if you click onto the new environment here, then you can choose your one of the environment you can select. It actually gives you the list of all the available environments on that particular tenant. So if you choose any one of the environment from CDS side and then hit next here, it gives you the list of data legal entities or companies from FNO side. So since this is a demo data here, it contains a long list of legal entities. So since I didn't configure this environment as part of this demo, so what we can do, we can say, okay, I want to choose this one, and then I want to say multiple legal entities. Hit next here. So after you choose the legal entities here, it runs across, it checks all the it runs through all the checks against this one. So what does it mean here, and what checks it performed here? So to find out more about this one, if I'll just duplicate the environment tab here. So this is a one of the prerequisites to set up the dual write. So what it does here, so you have to have a data management uh, and so you go to your system administration, your setup, and Azure Active Directory applications. So you will see there are two application IDs being added. So the first ID is being added as part of the data integrated app, and the second is for the dual write. So the question is, why do we need to have two application IDs here? So the first one is for the incoming connection from CDS, which uses the data integrator. Uh, so why do we need the data integrator here? There are two concepts into dual write. One is called the initial sync. Initial syncs means like you will write down all the data from FNO to CDS or CDS to FNO. It will write down all the data. It either a master data or a setup data. Like let's say if you want to create a customer account into FNO, and then it you want to see as an account into C, as part of the customer creation, you have to have customer groups in both the environments. Otherwise, it will fail. So for the customer group, the initial sync is required. So what I did here, I jumped into the FNO environments. In this case, one application is for incoming connection from the data integrator side, and the other one is coming from the connection from the CDS side. So there will be two application IDs from in FNO, and also similarly, you will have two connections exist into CDS side also. So if we go back to the CDS environment and we say, I want to go to the security users, and then you can go to the application users. So these are the two users which I added as part of the configuring dual write for these two environments. So there is a complete step-by-step document available on doc site, and the links are available at the end of this presentation. So you need to add all these users in both the environments using these particular application IDs. So application IDs are also available into the docs article. So this is one of the prerequisites here. And when we go back to where we actually initiated this discussion here, so you will see it actually checks, is your environment on PU33 or above? Okay, it is. Then have you installed the dual write core solution? Yes, we have installed. What does it mean here? So if you go back to your Power App here, and this is my environment, and this is my apps here, sorry, solutions here. And if we go back to the dual write here, just search for the dual write. So these are the solutions, and these solutions comes as a part of the dual write document guide. So you have to install these two solutions into your environment. So what has happened as part of configuring the dual write, I first install these two solutions, then I made sure like my platform update is on PU33. Then I installed all the required solutions here. Then I added these two application IDs to my CDS environment, the common data services. And then I added these two application IDs. It actually self-explanatory here. If it fails anything here, it actually tells you you need to go back and add these application IDs into your common data services, and you need to add these two application IDs into your finance and operations. Then it actually checks or everything, the plugins, everything is installed, which actually get installed as part of the solutions. So once this health check passes, you hit next here. It says you, okay, this will be your FNO environment here. This will be your uh, CDS environment from the other end, and these are the two legal entities you are trying to map. Everything done, then create. So while it's running, it's gonna take a few seconds, maybe a minute. So I'll quickly jump into another, because this is the one environment which I just made it for this demo. Another environment which I had here, I just quickly refresh the environment, so start a new session here. This is a second environment where I have already performed all those steps which I just showed you, uh, and it will have all all the dual right mappings, everything available here. It's taking a little bit of time to open everything here, and once this screen, the once you create the dual right connections, you will see all. So you will see all the entity mappings, something like this. It comes automatically here. So the first of all, you will see it's blank here. So this is done. So it's blank here. Now what you have to do, as I said earlier, there will be two solutions you have to install as part of the dual right. So which we have installed as into our Power Apps here. One is Dynamic 365 Finance and Operation Dual Right Entity Maps, and the second one is the Dual Right Core. So the Dual Right Core is actually the infrastructure. It actually explains a Dual Right Core solution that is onto the infrastructure capabilities of the Dual Right. So what mappings and what has to be done as part of the infrastructure, and this actual the out of the box provided by Microsoft solution is actually explain you all the entities here. So this already been installed into this dual right R&D environment, and once you apply solutions here, so what you have to do, you just click onto Dynamic 365 entity maps here and apply this solution. So in a moment, it's just applying your solution here. This solution is provided by Microsoft. All you just have to provide this solution here into your environment, and you will see all the mapping, something like this. So if you can also filter whatever is running. So it's nothing is running. We are just imported the solution inside here. Then what what are the features available here? So now I'll start my demo from here to explain. Once you reach to this stage, you can have a different statuses of the each entity map here. So before jumping to that one, so as you can see onto the left hand side top menu here, you can refresh the dual right environment here. If you refresh it, so whatever the entity map you may have created after linking the environments, so it will start appearing here. So if you want to see what are the environment details here, so it actually tells you that what is the connection name, what is the environment name is we connecting from FNO side, and from the common data services what environment it is linked to. So if you have ever worked into the data integrator uh, environment, what data integrator does, it actually gives ask you each and everything this information manually. It asks you, okay, what is your FNO environment, what is your CDS environment, what would be the connection set there. Then you have to create your connections manually, you have to create your connection sets, then you have to create your projects, and using the Microsoft provided templates, you can you can create projects into the data integrator. What dual write does, it actually does everything for you. It it creates the projects, it create templates, everything, but you will not be able to see all those templates and the projects into your Power Apps. So there is an intention from Microsoft to hide all this information from you, because uh, if you if you change anything intentionally, explicitly into your Power Apps, so Power Apps under any connection sets, any projects, it may break this integration into the dual write. So the second is whatever the legal entities we have mapped here, and these are the integration keys. So integration keys, I'll come up onto to the integration keys a bit later. So one of the points which I raised, I said the limitation of dual write is once you have your environment linked, you cannot add new legal entity here. Let's say you only link the environment between using these two legal entities from FNO side, and tomorrow there is a requirement, okay, we want to add another company, let's say that company, we want to include this one. This is not currently supported with dual write. So in order to perform that, in order to include a new legal entity here, you have to unlink the environment. And before unlinking the environment, if anything is running here, so let's say if I want to run a customer integration here, so the customer is here, so you have to stop it, and then once it stop it, then you have to unlink the environment. Otherwise it doesn't let you to unlink the environment if any of the data entity maps are into the running state. Now if we, so this is one of the environment. Now if I'm just quickly switching back to my other environment where I just run a couple of jobs and created some data back into the CDS environment. So it has a similar experience here, but it's a different environment. It has the demo data in it. Everything's same. So for now, what I'm going to do here, if I'll quickly remove this filter here, I want to show, I want to see all the entity maps available here, and then you can search for the customers. Let's say you can click on this one. You can say I want to stop this one, not the context one. This one I just want to stop it. So it will go to the stop state in a moment. So while it's stopping, I'm just removing the filter here, and I would say I want to see my vendors here, and I want to see my vendor groups here. So if I will click onto the my vendor groups here into each entity map, now this is a screen where you will have complete entity maps available. So the previous screen which I was showing you, which actually lists down all the entity maps here, where it all the options here, you can refresh the environment, you can go to the environment details here, you can directly go to the integration keys. So the concept of integration key is every data entity in CDS environment has an alternate key, so which defines the integration. So whatever the legal, whatever the integration key is being is defined as part of the entity into the CDS. Once you click onto any of the data entities here, if you go to the customers, it's stopped here. If you click onto this customers here, and then if you come back onto the customer and then you wanted to see the environment details, I want to see what is the integration key for the customers. Since the customer is linked with an account into CE, then and the integration key is account number and the company. So this is the part of the dual right company concept here. What does it mean here? this is the legal entity specific customer. So there are two type of things here. One is the global data entity, and one is the legal entity specific data entity. If we have this particular field as part of the key, which means all the entities which are defined here as part of the integration keys, account, a contact, customer group, and customer method payments, these are all legal entity specific into CE also. Then if we go to the dual right here, so one thing is important here. We just need to uh, understand what are these different statuses here. So if we click onto this all products, currently it says not running. The moment I click onto this one, this is the moment where dual write retrieves all the metadata information from FNO data entities and CE data entities, which we call CDS data entities here. This is the reason for the first time it takes a little bit of a time. It actually retrieves all the metadata information. And what it does here, this is the all products. This is the all products, the name of the data entity into FNO, and MSDNY underscore global products. This is the data entity name into CDS environment. So this is the CDS data entity here, and this is the FNO data entity. This is your schema name, and this is the actual label name which we called in FNO. So if we go back here into dual write, and we can click and we can run the entity maps from here also. If we click onto the entity maps here, it gives you these two options here. Initial sync, you want to do the initial sync or not. If I would like to do the initial sync, I will say, okay, whatever the products I have available into FNO environment or CDS environment, it's your requirement. Whatever the environment you want to make as a base environment here, most likely all the products will live into FNO environment. So I want to do an initial sync, then I have to choose an finance and operations app. If I will run here, what it does, it will, whatever the products available into FNO environment, it will sync across everything, each and every information to the CDS environment. So it's because since the initial sync, there are a lot of products available, it's gonna take a lot of time over here. I'm gonna cancel on this one, and then I'm just going to select the one which is less in data here. Let's say the customer groups here. If you click onto the entity map here, you can even run the process from here, and you can do the initial sync, and you can define what would be the master of the initial sync. So the customer group will flow from FNO to CE environment based on to your implementation. But in most of the cases, we keep the customer group, the finance and operation keep as a master for the customer groups. There is an other very interesting topic here, which is show related entity maps. What it does, it actually reads the entity relationships, whatever the entity relationship being defined onto the customer group, either onto the entity level or to the table level, or to the EDT level you can have. So it actually gives you, you need to, if you want to run this customer group, it actually gives you some opinion. Do you want to run the related entity maps or not? So the related entity maps are payment schedule, payment day CDS, and payment term. So as you can see, the rest of the things are already running. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this one here and run the initial sync for this one. If you go back here to the main dual write page, customer group, so you will see it's running onto the top. The moment you selected this one, it gives you the initial sync details. So what it does, it actually loops through all the data entities here. So if I'll just go to the activity log coming back here, so there is a bit of a the bug which Microsoft is still working on. So you just need to toggle between different tabs in order to see this refresh screen here. So if you will keep refresh this one, it will give you, okay, this is the current data and legal entity it's running. It actually asserts 7 record here. Excuse me. So and then it runs for the USSI company, it runs for this one. So it actually goes against multiple legal entities here. No, and what are the legal entities you have defined as part of the dual right? So if you refresh this one, once it's completed, that is your default company always. It runs, and it actually tells you 7 record upserts. So upserts is it's not the new terminology used for the dual right. It's being there for the data integrator too, which means like excuse me. So it means like there are 7 records either inserted or updated. So if you go back to the dual right screen now and you search for the customer groups here, excuse me. So you will see it's into the running state now. So other than this one, you can choose uh, choose multiple. You can delete this one. You cannot stop all the entity maps in one click. This is another feature which Microsoft is working on currently. What if you want to stop a particular job here? What you have to select particular job and you can stop it and pause it. So the pause means if you have any maintenance downtime, you want to pause a some data moving across environments, you can simply pause those ones. And also you can define your entity map version here. So what does it mean here? If I will go back, I will click onto this one and I want to add a new field here, add mappings here. And I would say I want to add a new field which do not exist anywhere already, this one. And I want to define, this is the another feature which comes as part of the dual right, where you can actually define the entity maps directions. So what it does here, what happened here, I added the new entity field here, new field here, and this field could be your custom field and anything whatever you have added as part of the customization into your data entity. It will, once you refresh the entities here, after you added the field, you refresh data entities here and it will start appearing here. As I just selected this ER solution, your custom field will start appearing here. Then similarly, if you want, you can choose any field from your the CDS environment. The only restriction, not the restriction, I would say, the only validation is here. Both the fields has to be on of the same type. If both the types are different, then you have to define a value map there, which I'll just show you in a bit here. First, I'll quickly click onto this one. It shows you bidirectional by default. You can say I just want to have this field as a finance and coming from finance and operations. It changed the arrow here, coming from finance and operation to CDS. If I'll just want to make it coming from CDS to FNO, it will come like this. So the the moment I will save it, it asks me what would be the version now. So this is currently into the running state. In order to add a new field here, we just have to stop this one. What I'm going to do, I'm just coming back here. I'll click onto the all products here. Since this is not running right now, I'm going to add a new mapping here, and product name, product number already exists. I will say I just want to have this one here coming. It will be going from FNO to CE site and save it. And I just want to have a product name here, and I want to save this one. So the moment I save this one, it will ask me, okay, what will be the default publisher here? I can choose any publisher from CDS, and what would be the version. This is the concept where you can actually define, okay, I want to use a different version here, and how this versioning exists. This is the part of the your solution here. If I quickly jump into the final the solution which we installed initially, this is the version information you can see here. So the out of by default, if I'll just quickly go back here, these are all the entity maps which comes as part of the dual light solution. And once we imported this solution into finance and operations, so all the entity maps will start appearing there into finance and operations. So I'm going to cancel this one for now and moving back to the actual screen. So whatever the entity maps you see here as part of this dual light core solution, dual light entity map solution, the similar entity map you will see here. Okay, so can you please put yourself on mute, please? And then what we have here, you can as I showed you, you can switch between different views here. You can filter whatever you want, active, running, and then after that I'm just going to show you a couple of quick things. First, I'm just going to run this one. I don't want initial sync. I'm just want this to run. Okay, so it's running now. If I'll quickly click onto this entity map here, and this map type and this icon is really important to understand here. By default it is a bidirectional. So many times being asked like, can we use dual write from one direction? Yes, you can use it for bidirection. You can use it from FNO to CDS, you can use it from CDS to FNO. It's your choice. Within a same entity map you can have multi bidirectional. Some data you want to use as a bidirectional, some data you want to use just coming from FNO to CDS like the invoicing information, and some data you just want to have a bidirectional but with the value map. So what are the value maps? So as I said in one of the examples, like gender information in FNO, gender information stores as a male and female. These are the two values. But in CDS, it saves as 0 and 1. So dual write has to explain some sort of a transformation here. So the male means 1, females means 0. Similarly, in FNO environment, we have enum values, which says yes or no. And in CDS environment, we have option sets, which call false and true. So we have to define both the transformation using the value map here. So this is the way to define the value maps here. And then if we scroll down, if you see this arrow is coming from this CDS to FNO, but this is bold here. The bold means this is coming from CDS to FNO, but it has a default value. This is a second type of transformation value, and you can define any value here, default value. So which means for the customer uh, to have into FNO, we need to have a language ID. It's a mandatory field, let's say. But this data do not exist into CDS. So how dual write is going to perform here? Dual write will say, okay, if there is no data exist for CDS for this particular field, let's make it a default value. And there will always be a one default value. That these cannot be a multiple default values, and there will be no conditional default values here. It's only one to one here. Similarly, you can define values coming from FNO to CDS. Let's say if we have an address type code, we just want to make it a default value too. Uh, and then moving here, this is another important and cool feature here. You can define your custom filters here. What does it mean here? Like this customer integration is just for the B2B. I don't want to move across all type of the customer, like the person and and other type of customer. I just want to move the customer which of type organization here. Then I will put the filter something like this. This is the same expression which we use to define queries into FNO environment. It's the same syntax. We have to just define the proper syntax here. And similarly in CDS side, what we want, we say customer account type equals to 3 here. So we are just defining the filter. So this filter which we have defined into CDS inside, it will come into the come into play when we are moving data from from CDS environment to FNO environment. So it filters down your data. When we are writing customer from FNO environment to CDS as an account there, then this filter will come into the play and it will filter down your data here. Now, if I'll quickly go back to my environment here. So while this is opening here, quickly wanted to show you a couple of things here. Once you add a new field here, and if this field doesn't appear, so you just have to refresh entities. It is a similar concept whenever you refresh the environment and you add new fields, your data entities into FNO environment. So you refresh entities under data management module. So what this refresh entities does, it actually refresh the schema from CDS environment and FNO environment at the same time. So if we have added a new field to the CDS environment, just refresh entities and then add mappings, so it will start appearing there. So meanwhile, I'm just going into the create a new customer here, just to show you how this customer move across to the environment. So then while it's opening, have a 5 or 6 minutes left, I'll quickly jump into the say test over here. This is the organization type which I put as a filter here. I don't want to move all the customer of person and organization type. I just want to have the customer move across from F1 to CDS, which of type organization. And then I will say 365 demo customer group and save it. Go to the C environment. So these are a couple of tests which I did before this demo. One is dual write C and the dual write. Dual write means like I created this customer from FNO to CDS environment, and the one is dual write C is the one which I created from a C environment as from an account, and then it created back into FNO. So quickly, I will just refresh this one. So this come over here, account name, and this is the one which we created over there. You can see, and the very important point here, if we double click here, you will see the company here and you will see the owner here. This is really important point to understand as part of this dual write setup here. So what Microsoft has done, Microsoft has created a separate data entity into CDS environment, which is actually called companies here. So as part of the initial sync, linking the environment, what Microsoft does, dual write does is actually, if you result this one, you will see all the legal entities which is the part of the FNO environment. It comes as part of the CDS. So in C, there is no concept of having legal entities into C itself. These legal entities this data entity, specifically companies, is being added as part of the dual write solution. So it creates all the legal entities here, and the idea of having this one, let's say if it actually gives you two benefits. So first is why do we need to have a legal entity into F&O environment? The first point, the first advantage of is from the data management perspective, so that you can specify which record belongs to which data entity, which record belongs to which company, which legal entity. This is the first important point to understand why do we need legal entities in F&O environment. Second is the security application. What does it mean? Like which user has access to which record in which legal entity, or which user has access to which legal entity in F&O. This is the concept of finance and operation, but this concept do not exist into CE environment. In order to replicate this concept from F&O to CDS environment, Microsoft added a new data entity here called USM, a company here. What it does, it actually gives you the same hierarchy information here as a legal entity. And also, as you can see here, this is the honor, which is one of the business units as part of it being added as part of the dual right. So if we create a new account here, you can easily say what would be the legal entity. This is a similar concept what we have into the finance and operation environment. So it's really easy here. You can choose your legal entity into C environment. These legal entities accessed into this F&O environment. Once you will save this one, it start appearing into the proper legal entity here. uh, Dualite not only support insert, it also you update any of the record from in any of the environment, then it update the respective data correctly into one of the environments. Also, Dualite does support the deletion whenever anything you want to delete any data from here. If you want to delete this customer from F&O environment, it will delete it from the CDS environment too. So last bit as part of the dual right thing here is the error handling. So what it does here, as you just need to define some alert settings as part of the dual right configuration. So it's always useful, you configure your dual right mappings and everything alert settings before you start the live implementation. What it means here, this is the alert settings here. You can create your new alert, you can name it whatever name you want, and you will say, okay, I want to have one notification if any type of error happened, if there is an application down, or there is a connection problem between both the environments. If that would happen, what you want to perform automatically, you want to have a notification as part of the email, and then you said, okay, if any unforbidden, like forbidden connection happen, you just want to stop the dual right mapping straight away. So there is no a human intervention interaction required here. It will, once you set up your alert setting properly, it will send you the email and it will perform the actions automatically. Then coming back to the demo here. So these are the last few bits which I just quickly wanted to go through. Implement it only a one-to-one finance and operations CDS environment. It cannot be the from, if you think like you can have one F&O environment, you want to sync across multiple CDS environment. This is not possible. These both the environments and instances has to be onto the same tenant. If you want to reduce the latency, it's better to host both the environment into the same Azure region. So do not consider dual right as a replacement for the data migration tool. If it's better to start with the low volumes, like the thousands of tens of thousands of records. So if you have a finance and operation environment and you have another existing CDS environment where you already have a lot of data in it, so you need to perform certain steps. There is a .NET script available given into this particular link here. You need to bootstrap your CDS data in order to make it eligible for the dual write. since, as I explained, there is a new concept of legal entities and business units into CDS, so you have to perform those .NET scripts. Do not consider this as a migration tool, and the number sequence is these two systems do not share these not connected with the number sequences. The number sequences, both the environments have their own number sequences, which is and again a benefit for both the environments. And the last bit is here, it's about the ALM, application life management solution. So once you have performed all the mappings, you have performed all the testing into your dev test environment. Now you want to move these changes from your to your UAT environment or to the production environment. So it's easy. As I showed you, everything exists into the solution. You just export this solution under Powerapps and then import into your other environment. So it will move across there. Currently, Microsoft is working on to this bit. I just wanted to highlight one thing. Microsoft is working on to make these things automatically. Currently, you just need to export and import. Microsoft is just working on to some capabilities where everything will be exported automatically and import into as part of your linking the CDS environments. Couple of very good resources which you really want, which I would suggest to go through. DualRite homepage, if you want to see what are the generally available announcements, system requirements and prerequisites, what is the main concept of application lifecycle management here, and the most important topic is DualRite step by step. It explains you each and everything from bit. These are the two applications app source packages which I talked about. You have to install these two app source packages. All the information is there. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me onto this email address and my Twitter account. Then I will I'm open for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Faisal Farid, for your session. We have overrun by 5 minutes. So what I kindly ask you to do, Farid, is if you could post your contact details within the chat window, and there's many questions that people have asked related to CDS in the chat window. Please feel free to reply to them within the chat window, if that's okay. It's just that we've gone overdue by 5 minutes, and obviously the next session needs to begin. Is that okay?
Yeah, I apologize.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I shared my email address. If anyone wants to contact with me, feel free to ask any questions to me.
And like I said, there are plenty of questions in there. So in the chat window. So yeah. So please, people, everyone, please feel free to obviously connect with Farid. Let's move on to the next session now. Thanks again, Farid. That was a really good session. Lots of good feedback there. So yes. So the next session is with Hisham. Hisham, are you online?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Hisham's great to hear from Hisham again. Last time we met was in the Dubai conference. So Hisham's been a regular at our Dubai conference, been a very important community member in the Gulf MEA region. He's been helping a lot with the community efforts there. So it's a great pleasure to introduce Hisham. He's a highly technical